Hi, welcome to Infodumpies. My name's Brianne. My pronouns are she, her. I have ADHD, I'm autistic, and you might not know it, but I have an MBA. A mighty big ass.
Can confirm. Hi, I'm Violet. My pronouns are she, her. I have ADHD, and it's been a long time coming. I have to confess, I am a gooby snoobert, and I have to say it. I'm coming clean.
Yeah, she's a gooby snoop. Everyone knew you're a gooby snoobert.
I thought it was this big secret, this big dark passenger that I've been harboring deep within myself, and
No,
I
it's
was
like if
going
you
to
just
take
told
to the grave.
it was like if you just said, "Hey everyone, I'm a lesbian." Like, no shit, we know you're both a lesbian and a gooby snoobert.
Okay.
Duh.
Good. Okay, good. I feel better now. I feel better that I got this gooby snoobert off my chest. So.
No, I'm nowhere near your chest.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too.
All right, what are we talking about today?
Okay.
What's your dump?
Okay, so first I'm going to start off with a little horror story to tell you how I got here. So, it was a morning many months ago. Just like any other morning. I had my coffee, I had my breakfast, and at around 9:30 to 10, my body said, "Hey, you have to poop."
Oh no.
But I know, but the thing that happened was
I'm scared.
I went to go poop, and I forgot my phone.
Oh fuck. Oh god.
I know.
It's too scary.
I forgot my phone.
It's
Too scary. So like we did in prehistoric times, I started reading the labels of things in the bathroom, right?
Ah, yes. As the ancient ones did.
As the ancient ones did. So I picked up something that I had put in the cabinet because I was like, I tried this and I hated it. Extremely autistic. I don't like to try new like bath products very much because I'm a skincare slut. Everyone knows this.
Mm-hmm.
I like what I like, and if it works, I buy it, and I don't really care about something being flashy and new. So a while ago, even months before that, I had tried to get my normal shaving cream, and they were out of it, so the Instacart shopper picked up some Dr. Bronner shaving cream. I tried it. I am a hardcore bitch who uses a safety razor, and this was not cutting it for safety razor things. It was cutting me. So I was
no.
fuck off, Dr. Bronner. And I put it in the cabinet where we got to me reading it while I pooped. I had not paid attention to the label very much. And as I was reading it, I thought, oh no, did I purchase something that helps a cold? Because there's some wild stuff on the Dr. Bronner's label.
Mm-hmm.
So I was reminded of that horrific day I forgot my phone while I pooped the other day when I was ordering some snacks on Instacart and I saw Dr. Bronner's makes chocolate. And I was like, a soap man make chocolate?
Yeah, so you can read the label while you make chocolate.
Gross.
Sorry, that was bad. Sorry.
But anyway, I was like, these chocolate flavors sound good, but I never got confirmation that they don't support a cult. So I went down a rabbit hole reading about Dr. Bronner's because I forgot my phone while I pooped.
Hell yeah.
How much do you know about Dr. Bronner's?
Well, good old Dr. Bronner. I know that he is a living human?
Nope.
Fuck, shit. Ah, damn it. I already messed it up. He's a human. He was a human. He had a family. And
yes.
he make it a soap.
Cool, that's it. That's the episode.
Yeah.
You covered it all.
Cool. Hey, sorry I kind of cut it short there. Well, thanks
You
for listening,
did, yeah.
everybody. Oh, wait. Hold on. I think there's more.
Okay, so I really didn't know anything about Dr. Bronner's either, other than I saw the ingredients of the soap and said, oh, I'm never putting this on my human body. Because the pH, it is truly like an old-fashioned soap, and the pH is so alkaline, it's like my eczema-prone skin could never.
Oh, no.
And then I knew Dr. Bronner's from a TikTok where someone's like, you go over to a friend's house and they have the Dr. Bronner's mint soap and it had a face put over someone's coochie and it had that, why is it spicy?
Why is it spicy?
Why is it spicy? That was the extent of it.
The pH being too high, the pH stands for pussy acid. That's what it stands for.
Pussy hates it. Actually, yeah, pussy would hate it because pussy is acidic also, like the rest of your skin. So, yeah, pussy hates it, and so does skin. So I know I had been to a few friends' house and stayed the night, and they'd have Dr. Bronner's, and I'd be like, I would rather be stinky. My skin feels terrible. That's all I knew. I went down the rabbit hole and learned about Dr. Bronner himself. So, naturally, Dr. Bronner's is named for its founder, Emanuel Bronner. He founded the company back in 1948.
Oh.
He was not a doctor.
Hold on.
Not a doctor.
Answer me this. In this story, does he ever become a doctor?
No.
Fuck. God damn. Why have you betrayed me? Dr. Bronner, why?
So, Bronner was an activist. And I'm going to preface this in this episode by saying Emanuel Bronner's mental health was up and down and he underwent a lot of trauma. So anything I am saying here, I am for mad liberation. I think that people having changes to their brain happening in response to trauma, be it in the past or ongoing, is natural for humans to have. I don't think it should be pathologized. I think that help should not... Very often we see people dealing with mental health issues as incapable human beings and we pathologize them instead of giving them the community support they deserve. So when I'm discussing Dr. Bronner's mental health, we're not going to be... I don't want anyone listening to think that I am falling into the, like, he's crazy as hell. Like, no, as someone who actually has, like, I also have OCD and sometimes I'll get, like, auditory hallucinations and stuff and other things. I am very much for embracing those in people. So when we talk about Dr. Bronner and the trauma he went through and some other things, it is always in a positive light. So I'm just prefacing that because on the Dr. Bronner's label, if you read it, a lot of it seems extremely incoherent and it does seem like pages from some manifesto or something.
Yeah, like the ramblings of a sleeping man.
Yeah, like much of it is incoherent. Which is why I thought, like, oh, is this cult related? It is not. Good. He was not a cult leader. Bronner was an activist, and he lost both of his parents in the Holocaust.
Oh, jeez.
So he had left Germany. His parents said, actually, we're going to stay. And one of the last things he heard from them was like, hey, you were right to leave. And they were killed.
No.
Yeah.
That's horrid.
So understandably, he dealt with that immense trauma and that immense loss his entire life, as someone is going to. That changes a person.
Absolutely, yeah.
So he, after that, developed a lot of philosophies on life where he kind of pulled from other religions. He used his soap as a way to spread these philosophies on life that he had. He was carrying on his family's legacy because he was a third-generation soap maker. The labels on his soap give the ins and outs of Dr. Bronner's all-one, ALL-ONE philosophy, which is still the company's tagline to this day. The all-one philosophy is outlined in something that Bronner called moral ABC. The moral ABC included, like, a soup of different religious influences, some environmentalism stuff, and a bunch of what would be considered later hippie ideals. The ultimate goal of his philosophy, though, was peace and harmony on Spaceship Earth.
On Spaceship Earth?
Spaceship Earth. So the text for... And yeah, his moral ABC evolved over time, but the text of his moral ABC is around 3,000 words long. It includes references to Jesus, Einstein, Muhammad, Abraham Lincoln, Mao, Stalin, Hitler, dinosaurs, multi-level marketing, starvation, and slavery.
Okay. That's a lot.
So, the gist of the moral ABC is that the urgent existential threats we face as humans can only be tackled if we unite together as one to address them, which, yeah, I vibe with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, very much
Yeah.
against individualism, saying that we as a human community have to address these issues together.
Yeah. We're all in this together. That whole thing, yeah.
Exactly. I don't make me pay Disney.
Oh, sorry. I don't want to pay Disney either.
Bronner became an icon, and he had devout followers, for lack of a better term. Follower sounds like a cult leader, but people liked his ideas, essentially.
Okay, yeah.
A few years before he made his soap business official, he would go traveling to go preach his moral ABC. And on a trip to preach in Chicago, a man actually crucified himself in the name of Emmanuel's teachings. Which, nothing that Bronner talked about seemed to encourage this kind of behavior. The man was injured, but physically okay.
That is wild. That is wild. I can't imagine. There must have been some other, like, they must have been battling their own issues, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And like this part was one of the early things that I read when I was researching it, and I was like, oh no, it's a cult, but definitely not. This was an individual. After a sermon in Chicago, and it's unclear if it's the same one as the dude who crucified himself. I couldn't get confirmation on this, but after a sermon in Chicago, maybe the same one, maybe a different one, Emmanuel's sister had him committed to a mental hospital. He was put in solitary confinement and escaped through a bathroom window, and he fled back to his home in California.
Oh, wow. My gosh.
Which, for me, like, I think it's kind of amazing how he had a sister who wanted to lock him up for this stuff, and then later we'll find he had a family who is like, actually, he's not dangerous, and he has good ideas. Let's keep putting this on our labels. So this is more the thing that I think culturally we expect when someone is neurodivergent in the sense of, you know, psychosis or something, because that is a neurodivergence. And I don't know that he dealt with psychosis in particular, but his brain had diverged from what was deemed as typical because of things he had been through. And much like the attitude of a lot of people, his sister was like, he's weirding me out, let me lock him up. So it's interesting to see where he started, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what year was that, by the way? I feel like you're going to tell me it's way more recent than I'm thinking.
I think this was still in the 40s or early 50s. Okay. I had trouble finding exact dates on these things.
Okay. I feel a bit better, but I was worried that you were going to say this is 1993 or something. So
No.
Okay.
So, as you can imagine, with his ideology in terms like Spaceship Earth, Dr. B fucking killed it in the 60s and 70s.
Oh,
people
God,
were wild about his ideas, right?
Oh, yeah. They can't get enough of that funky stuff.
Yeah, he was a man before his time. His soap and his ideals made him like this cultural icon in the 60s. He was like a minor celebrity in like a bunch of different counterculture and subculture groups. He would speak at peace rallies with anti-Vietnam demonstrations, and he even became friends with Eldridge Cleaver, who was one of the early leaders of the Black Panther Party. So Dr. B was intersectional. Like he said, we all have to unite as one to address these problems that face everybody. And he meant it, and he walked. He didn't just talk it, he walked it.
I'm getting to the point now where I'm thinking, hey, listen, this guy's not a doctor. Maybe we should just make him a doctor, like officially. Like
no, like at first I was like, not a doctor, fucking scam artist, and then I kept reading and I'm like, it's like a term of endearment. His ideas were good, so they called him doctor. Like, I understand.
You can have some doctor as a treat.
You can have a little doctor as a treat. I've met
Yeah.
doctors who don't deserve to be called doctor.
Right.
You could have a little doctor as a treat.
Yeah, there you go.
So later in his life, Emmanuel started having health problems. And
Oh.
towards the end of his life, he was later diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And the last few years of his life, he went completely blind. So as much as he'd accomplished with his company and sharing his ideals, by the late 80s, early 90s, the company was not really doing well. Bronner owed $1.3 million in back taxes to the IRS.
Ooh.
Yes. The man was about his soap and his ideals and not about the money. I very much imagine he's like me with business stuff, where it's like, I'm going to make the thing. I'm going to give you the ideas. Don't talk to me about the money. I don't do that. I don't fucking do that.
I don't even want to fucking look at a spreadsheet.
I don't want to fucking look at a spreadsheet. You bitch, I love you. This is based on real life because Violet tried to show me a spreadsheet of money stuff, and I was like, don't make me look at a spreadsheet. This is a hate crime. Anyway, so Emmanuel owed $1.3 million in back taxes to the IRS.
Oof.
And this is because he had previously registered his company as a non-profit religious organization.
Ooh. Well,
Because to him, the soap was being used to spread his moral ABC. He didn't care about getting profit, and like I said, much like me, he was like, I don't do that. Don't talk to me about I don't
Back
fucking
off.
do that is very much the vibe I got. So he brought his kids into the company with another generation of soap makers. Emmanuel's son Jim would come to the rescue for the financial stuff. Jim lifted the company out of bankruptcy by restructuring it as a for-profit company. Even so, to this day, they still operate more like a non-profit than a for-profit company, which I'll get into later. I think it's really interesting. Emmanuel died in 1997 at the age of 89 years old. And in 1998, Emmanuel's grandson, David, Jim's son, became the 5th generation of soap-making Bronner.
Wow.
And he became the CEO, which at Bronner's, CEO stands for Cosmic Engagement Officer.
Cool.
Yeah, so he became the Cosmic Engagement Officer at Dr. Bronner's.
I'm
And
the
he did
space
so.
wizard.
Oh, yeah, kind of, because he did so after a psychedelic-fueled post-college trip to Amsterdam, which I fucking respect.
Hell yeah. That's a vibe.
Yeah.
That's
So
a vibe and a good time.
That is the vibe that gets brought into the Dr. Bronners of today.
I love it.
So
that's why they have like holographic foiling on their candy bars and stuff like that.
they are very much hippy-dippy and embrace it, and they get even more into the psychedelic thing here in a little bit. I made some very interesting notes about it. So, Emmanuel's grandsons are who run the company today. David, the one who went to Amsterdam and absolutely tripped balls, and his brother Michael, who seems like the more straight-laced one, who's like, I will... It very much seems like the more I will handle talking to the public kind of thing. I don't know. They are fire and ice, it seems like. But the two of them run the company today.
Cool.
David, the CEO, follows the family tradition of activism, so the spirit is still very the same. He has ponytail, he's a vegan. He once planted hemp seeds on the DEA's lawn. And he was also arrested for locking himself in a cage in front of the White House. And I saw pictures, and he's surrounded by pot plants.
Oh my god.
So yeah. So his brother Michael is more straight-laced of the Bronner bro. He is very adamant about the business being as ethical about their advertising as they possibly can. And the company, which you'll understand why I respect this, has always relied on word of mouth. They don't do social media the same way that other similarly marketed, like, natural brands do, by doing, like, influencer marketing or trying to inflate their following. And Michael Bronner says that the virtual followings and empires that some wellness brands have created are, quote, essentially amoral.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so for the listeners, we don't take, for our podcast production company, Mixnomer, we don't take any paid sponsorships. We rely on word of mouth. And I'm not going to knock anyone who's trying to make money off their podcast by taking a sponsorship. Please sell me Bombas socks. And
I'm wearing Bombas socks right now.
yeah. Please sell me Bombas socks and HelloFresh. That's not for us. And it feels like it's for a lot of the same reasons that the Bronners decided not to.
Yeah. So that's why we're taking a paid sponsorship from Dr. Bronner. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
This is not a shill episode for Dr. Bronners. I will say a bunch of things I like about them, and then also a bunch of things about their products that I'm not thrilled about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this seems like I'm simping for Dr. Bronners, but there's no such thing as like, there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, and I also believe it's very hard to ethically do business under capitalism because existing under that system, someone will be exploited along the way regardless of what you do. So I don't think any company is perfect, but yeah, I'll get to it because I have respect for them as a company, even though I generally don't trust companies as a whole. Yeah, so the brothers seem to agree on the direction of the company. David Bronner says, quote, "We're an activist company. Our focus is mostly on trying to leverage our business to promote social change for the good." And Michael Bronner describes their company as a, quote, "for-profit with the DNA of a non-profit."
Huh.
And that's not an exaggeration from what I've been seeing. So to this day, Dr. Bronner's doesn't do a ton of like actual advertising. They refuse to do influencer marketing, and they don't use otherwise sort of shitty tactics to artificially inflate their virtual following. So I also really appreciate, so the quote-unquote natural bath products, there is no regulated term for what natural is, right? Whenever someone talks about like clean beauty or natural beauty, there's no regulatory term. That's not a standard term. And there's usually a lot of fear-mongering around those terms. So I generally avoid them because they tend to be really anti-science. And also natural is not always better.
Right.
Like,
I love my GMOs.
And also it can be more costly to the environment to get your fragrance from having to boil down a bunch of stuff to make the essential oil than it could be to actually replicate the same compound that creates that smell in a lab.
Yeah. Exactly.
I enjoy that I don't see that fear-mongering on their social media either.
Yeah, that's a really good thing.
So a bunch of the crunchy people who don't want quote-unquote chemicals, which, hey, fuckwad, water is a chemical, but whatever.
Yeah, everything's
a lot
chemicals.
Of the same, everything's chemicals. Everything's fucking chemicals. But I don't see them doing a lot of that, which I appreciate on their social media.
Yeah.
They primarily use their social media to share customer video and pictures and advertise their own products and sales they're doing, and to communicate new products and things to customers, which it's like, that should be what you're doing.
Exactly.
Like, it's sad.
That's what it's for.
Yeah, it's sad that that's like what they're doing. That's remarkable is using it the way it should be, that I trust more.
Right, yeah. It's like when I see an ad from a company, if it's not like, here's a cool new thing you might be interested in, I'm just like, fuck off. Like, I know about you already.
Yeah, and their ads are not things like, a lot of advertising is just like, look at this lifestyle, look at this thin white woman putting on this face cream, and you can be like her if you use our cream. No, Dr. Bronner's one is like, hey, here's how you make a really good like household cleaning solution with our Sal Suds, or here's how you make a foaming hand wash with our soap concentrate stuff. Like, here are products and some uses. This is helpful. Yes? Which I was like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I saw one where someone used...
It seems like helpfulness is just kind of like the core motivator for everything they're trying to do. They're trying to make everything they do at least a little bit helpful, which is good.
I follow them on social media now. I saw one of their things where someone's like, hey, this chocolate we make is really good if you melt it down and drizzle it over popcorn. And I was like, fuck me running. That sounds so good right now.
So good. God, I'm
and
hungry.
then
Sorry.
I went and bought some of the chocolate and didn't buy popcorn and just ate the chocolate. So it worked.
It worked. And listen, the chocolate is good.
The
It's
chocolate
good,
is
y'all.
good, which I'll get into because
Okay.
by the end I'm like I want to support them, but I don't want to put your soap and your creams on my body. Unlike many other companies who try not to get quote unquote political, they're like, no, fuck that. We're about what we're about. And they use their social media to take direct, deliberate stands on social issues, openly saying things like trans rights are human rights and
Hell yeah.
doing the fucking work in the comment section when you get someone being shitty and dispelling misinformation.
God, thank God. That's so often that I see people like they'll be like trans lives matter, and then just the comments go fucking feral, and they don't do anything about it.
Yeah, so then you have Dr. Bronner's social media staff in the comments going, actually, trans healthcare, and then giving a bunch of statistics and stuff to refute whatever bullshit claim someone just made. So it's like, oh, you aren't just saying the thing and letting it run amok. You're actually caring about this. Some issues they commonly talk about are raising the federal minimum wage, ending factory farming, and taking action on climate change, holding the companies responsible for the bulk of it accountable.
Love that.
Having deliberately stated company ethics, they rely on word of mouth for the majority of their advertising. Dr. Bronner's has managed to become the best-selling liquid soap in the country.
Hell yeah. That's amazing. Oh my God. Like bigger than Dawn soap?
They are the best-selling liquid soap in the country.
That is wild.
I don't know if they're counting dish detergents in the same category or not, but
yeah, because it's interesting to think what category specifically, because like I have to imagine like Dawn dish soap. I mean,
yeah, I think it might be liquid like soap for the human body, and maybe not like dishwashing detergents.
Yeah, because I mean it's 101 if I recall correctly. The soap, it says 101. Am I misremembering that? Where it says it's got it's 101. You can use it for everything, washing your hair, dishes, etc.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh yeah, no. So my first interaction with Dr. Bronner's was also looking at a soap bottle while pooping. I was I was crashing on a friend's couch for a hot minute, and I was dropping a deuce in the bathroom. And this was before cell phones were all that common, and I was quite poor, so I had a flippy phone and no internet. So I reached over, grabbed the big old bottle of Dr. Bronner's shampoo or soap. It just said soap, and it was like 101. You can use it for anything. You can use it for. It like listed a whole ton of uses for it. So it was like washing your hair, doing the dishes, giving your pet a bath and stuff like that. And I used it, and I found it very, very drying.
As you would.
Yeah, but if it's 101 uses and the chocolate tastes good, how does the soap taste good?
I don't know that I would eat the soap.
I don't know.
It probably wouldn't. It wouldn't be great, but I think compared to other soaps, I don't know. But it's become so popular. There's like a list of celebrities who mention how much they love Dr. Bronner's in interviews, which include Olivia Wilde, Zoe Kravitz, Sandra Bullock, Drake, Lady Gaga, Natalie Portman, Meghan Markle, and Greta Gerwig. So it's like extremely popular, and the very people they don't give a shit about catering to are singing the praises of their soap. Like the very people, they're like, we're unconcerned about you, or like, I'm wild about this soap.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy to go from word of mouth to Lady Gaga is saying, I fucking love this Dr. Bronner shit. It's amazing.
Right. And the closest the company gets to doing any like big traditional marketing is something they have called the Magic Foam Experience. And God, I would love to experience the Magic Foam Experience. It is a mobile shower unit that has massive soap tanks blowing Dr. Bronner's laden foam at big events.
Whoa.
Like pride parades, music festivals, and naturally, as you can imagine, Burning Man.
Oh, yeah. And they could use the soap there from what I've seen.
They could really use the soap.
They need it.
Yeah.
It's muddy. But that's so cool, though. So they just blast big old blobs of foam at you? That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, that sounds
I
fun,
wish they did
right?
that at a water park. That'd be fun. You can go rinse off and probably fuck
It
up
would
the water park
it would
stuff.
fuck
But
up. Irreparably fuck it up, I feel like.
my God. Chaotic me is saying bring a bottle of dish soap to a water park just to see what happens. Just to watch the world burn. Anyway.
Hey baby, you want to go get kicked out of Hurricane Harbor?
You want to go to Hawaiian Falls and cause some trouble?
So Dr. Bronner's, as far as a workplace goes, seems to try to do things differently as an employer too. So while most companies have a CEO to lowest paid employee ratio of 399 to 1.
Ooh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Dr. Bronner's has deliberately capped their ratio of CEO to lowest paid employee at 5 to 1. So that means David and Michael Bronner have their salaries capped at $200,000 a year.
I mean, that's still amazing salary, to be fair.
That's still amazing salary. Yeah, that's not saying that they're taking a pittance, but for having the number one liquid soap in the country and have the $200K, that's refreshing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And like, I'm not great at math, and I noticed that this means their lowest paid staff still don't make super great, but with info I'm about to get, I think that is very part-time staff that they have that lowest paid.
Oh,
because they have a minimum wage in their company for full-time permanent staff, because I think they also might have like some seasonal gigs too. It's still an impressive income cap in light of everything.
Cool.
399 to 1 versus 5 to 1.
Yeah, I mean, God, if they're making $200,000 a year, imagine what most CEOs are making.
Yeah, right?
That's crazy.
Right?
At essentially 400 to 1.
Yeah, so Dr. Bronner's also offers psychedelic therapy to all employees as a workplace benefit.
I think sorry, they get, you saying they get shrooms at work?
They don't get shrooms at work. They get ketamine in a clinic for ketamine treatments.
Where's my ketamine benefit? Job?
Right?
Job? Where's my ketamine benefit?
I'm
self-employed.
I'm self-employed, and if I could give myself ketamine benefit, I would.
I'm going to be talking to my manager about acquiring a ketamine benefit.
Hi, listen, this job is hard, and for my mental health, which there are, like ketamine has a bunch of really good benefits for people with depression and anxiety and PTSD. And Dr. Bronner's, who is very much, one of their activism things is stopping the prohibition of psychedelics because they can be used for a bunch of treatments. So they're actively campaigning for decriminalizing these things. They're also very open about no one should be in jail for weed. So they aren't just the average white person who's like, make weed legal, like weed is a natural plant, it heals everyone. They're also like, also expunge the records of the mostly black and brown people who have had their lives turned upside down for being arrested for small amounts of weed, like that kind of stuff. Yes.
It is baffling to me that there are people still in jail in states where weed is legal for weed possession. It's wild. It doesn't make sense in any way.
So, Dr. Bronner's, they offer the psychedelic therapy to all employees as a workplace benefit. All full-time permanent workers have a starting wage of $24.85 an hour.
Dang. Nice.
And that's as of 2022. The health insurance is employer paid, and all employees receive up to 10% of their salary as a yearly bonus and up to 10% of their salary as part of an employee profit sharing plan.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. They're also seemingly transparent about where their money goes, and they issued a report of their spending for 2022, and they put a short summary of the report on their Instagram. And more than 40% of their profits were spent on fair trade ingredients for their products. 25% went to employees, and more than 8.6 million went to activism in the areas of drug policy reform, climate change, and animal activism.
That's really good. Are they hiring? Because honestly, it sounds really nice.
Yeah, no, I had kind of posted about this on my Instagram stories, and I had someone tell me, like, how much they love Dr. Bronner's, that even if they were looking for a new job and they applied for a job at Dr. Bronner's, even though they don't live in the same state.
I mean, they'd probably allow work from home, you know?
I think there are some work from home positions. I was kind of looking at stuff on their site about things. Dr. Bronner seems to be pretty transparent about where their charitable donations go toward different causes and what their plans for the future entail. They have this blog on their site called the All One blog, where they post about their activism and what the company is currently working on, different ways to use their products, and their goals for the future. And I found one post in particular that was really impressive, and it's about their goals to become climate positive by 2025. So this means that rather than just becoming climate neutral, where they are responsible for zero carbon emissions, like some companies are aiming to be, and they're usually like, by 2038 or something ridiculous, right? Dr.
Right.
Bronner's plans to actually sequester more carbon than they emit on an annual basis by 2025. And rather than just mention that that's their goal, they list out their plans to reach it. So to me, this reads, to me, this is the same thing as when someone apologizes, it's good. But when someone apologizes and says, this is how I'm going to try to make that better in the future, I'm like, oh, you really mean it. This to me is like not just the empty promise of we're going to become climate positive. It's, and here are the steps we're going to take to do it. So will they reach the goal? I don't know. Is any company perfect? No. But I do respect that. Okay. So they plan to achieve this by aiming to send near zero waste to landfills, powering their factory with 100% renewable energy, prioritizing efficient transportation, and sourcing responsibly made packaging from 100% PCR plastic, and sourcing their raw materials for their products from smallholder farms who use regenerative organic practices. And not only that, they also put their support behind governmental policies that aim to mitigate climate change, like the Green New Deal and the Plastic Free California initiative.
You know, all of this, in combination with the fact that they don't really gloat about it through advertising or anything like that, and it's just still almost entirely word of mouth, is really impressive. Because it's like, if somebody puts their cart away at the grocery store and then they go, I put my cart away. Everybody saw that, right? I'm a good person. I put my cart away. You're like, fuck that guy, right? But if they just do it, you're like, yes, that is right. That is good. So the bar is quite low, but still.
And like, they do talk about it on social media. It's not like they're keeping it quiet, but it's also like, here's why you should care about that. Yeah. Like, we're telling you, here's why you should care about that thing. So to me, it's not just saying like, oh, we care about XYZ, you should too. It's, we care about it. This is what we're doing. What are you doing? So my final thoughts. While I don't ever simp for a corporation, I can actually really respect the attempts that Dr. Bronner's makes at operating as ethically as possible. Like, as someone who is staunchly anti-capitalist, I am still a small business owner and I'm still self-employed. And like, I spend a lot of time trying to make sure I am operating everything I do in a way that feels as communal and ethical as I possibly can. And it's really hard. Like, trying to do any of this and survive under capitalism is hard because I want to mitigate how much people are exploited through my actions because I don't want that. And it's hard. So even though I'm not going to be like, Dr. Bronner's for life, they can do no wrong because it is a corporation, right? But yeah, so even though I'm not going to be like, I love Dr. Bronner's for everything they do all the time, they're perfect. No, nobody's perfect. I can really respect that they've had a business that's been successful on word of mouth because that's purely what I want to rely on. I don't want to try to sell anybody on an idea of something. I want to be like, here is me. And like, even on my website for coaching, mostly to weed out assholes, honestly, on the about me, I have like, hey, first of all, Black Lives Matter, trans rights are human rights, and a bunch of things where I'm like, if you don't agree with that, I am not the person to do your peer support and coaching. Like, I try to be upfront about it, and I can respect that they're doing that. So I didn't expect to learn, like, oh, okay, this is kind of someone who I think had similar ideas about, like, we have to make money under what we exist under. Let's try to do it without hurting people as much as possible.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
So I think the coolest thing I took away from this was that Emmanuel Bronner was a neurodivergent man who found people who cared and, it seems like, very much loved and accepted him, and the fact that he did things differently. Where many folks, like his sister, would have sought some sort of carceral response to his mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had other family who said, you know, listen to the things he's saying. He is deeply caring about people. That's my dad, you know, like,
exactly,
and he was supported. Like, he had community and family. And to me, I think that is not the typical and not what I expected. I was going into this expecting there to be some like seedy cult thing. But
right.
Instead, I found someone who, you know, I would have been locked up by many a family member. And instead, his family said, no, Dad, we're going to help you get your business out from under bankruptcy. Because again, a part of me thought, oh, well, his soap company did really well, so they didn't care because of that. No, they had to fix a lot of the mistakes he made. So it was
a family effort.
Yeah, it was a family effort to work as a community. It was not that Dad had this huge soap empire, so they're like, all right, that's fine. We won't lock him up because we want his stuff. No, he was not doing well, and it's his family that actually helped him through that. And the trauma that he underwent because of the Holocaust, like, it fundamentally changed his brain. Like, that's how PTSD works. And
absolutely,
living in a world that usually pathologizes and vilifies those who have been changed by trauma, it was nice. So I think the fact that they put his sermons on the labels, like, his sermons were filled with these non sequiturs and these sort of James Joyce-esque lyrical sort of words bouncing around, and they listened to what he said. Instead of just saying, a lot of this doesn't make sense to me, they listened to what he said, no, Dad's not dangerous. He wants to do things differently, and that's what the world needs, and was embraced. And
yeah,
to me, I think the way they embraced him is kind of the idea of what mad liberation is about. So I was really pleasantly surprised, and I didn't expect to get this into it or feel that much about it. So would I buy Dr. Bronner's? Mostly no, because I'm a pitchy bit.
Yeah.
I'm a picky bitch with sensitive skin. Their soaps, like I said, are way too alkaline a pH, and they have a sugar soap that utilizes olive oil, which is not great for the skin barrier. And if you are prone to things like tinea versicolor or dandruff or malassezia folliculitis, which gets called fungal acne, if you're prone to any of those, you don't want to leave something with olive oil on your skin. You know what I mean? Like, I would immediately get dandruff using their hair cream stuff. Like, I know I would, because it's olive oil. And then a bunch of their other stuff also has coconut oil in it, which I am acne prone, and coconut oil, interestingly enough, coconut oil for some people with acne can be very good because it has antimicrobial properties. But I believe the high concentration of, I think it's linoleic acid, some people produce an enzyme that can break down some of the components of coconut oil. Some people do not. So for people with acne who have that enzyme you produce, you're fine. I am someone who very clearly does not produce that enzyme, because if coconut oil goes anywhere near my skin, it's pimple city. So again, not made for me. I am prone to eczema, and they use a bunch of essential oils, and essential oils and fragrance are one of the top allergies you can have for like topical cosmetics. So
Absolutely, yeah.
fragrance is hard, but especially a bunch of the fragrances they use, like eucalyptus is really common irritant and stuff like that. So again, not made for my skin. And then I thought, oh, they have lip balms and like an ointment. But that has beeswax, which shocks me because veganism is very popular in the company. Like everything else is vegan, their chocolate is vegan, but they're using beeswax.
That's such a weird choice.
Right? That actually surprised me. I was looking at it, I was like, I did not expect to see beeswax in these ingredients. So for me, that's a no because I won't use it. So most of their stuff that's like a bath sort of product or a soap, I would not use. But god damn that chocolate.
Yeah, you best believe we're going to be like throwing down some of that chocolate. Even if we can't support Dr. Bronner because you're a skincare girly, we can support Dr. Bronner because we love chocolate.
I love chocolate. It's vegan chocolate.
Yeah.
And then I also found that they have this like household cleaning detergent stuff called Sal's Suds, which sounds interesting. And I'd actually fuck around and try that because it's not going to go directly on my skin. But anyway, that's everything that happened because I forgot my phone when I went to go take a poop.
What a happy ending to forgetting your phone to taking a poop. It was a horror story at first, and it turned around.
Yeah. This dumpy was brought to you by me taking a dump.
It's come full circle, and the circle is the toilet.
The full circle is the turlet.
Well, thank you for that dump. That was really informative and really cool, and I learned a lot about not Dr. Bronner.
Honorary Dr. Bronner.
I still don't quite get. Like I understand we did say that he can have a little doctor as a treat, but you never said why he called the brand Dr. Bronner.
I don't know. He was referred to as Dr. Bronner. I assumed it was some weird 60s stuff like the Muppet Dr. Teeth.
Oh yeah, okay. I think that basically answers my question. Yeah, he's the Dr. Teeth of soap.
Or the real human that Dr. Teeth is based off of. Is it Dr. John?
Or that, yeah.
I think it's Dr. John or something. I forget. I care more about Muppets than I do about the actual old dude he's based off of. But anyway, I think he went to the same school as the Muppet Dr. Teeth.
Yeah, there you go. Same medical school.
Hey friends, it's me with the housekeeping section again. As per usual, if you want to see what Violet and I are up to on the internet, go to the show details and see where we hang out on social media. If you want to support the show, the best way you can do that is sharing about the show with a friend. We don't pay for ads and we don't take paid sponsorships. We grow entirely by word of mouth. Thanks to people doing that for our show Today's Lucky Winner, we had the capacity and the means to even think about doing Infodumpies. So you all have helped us in the past, and we can grow more and do more fun things the more people you tell about it. If you haven't left a cute review about the show, that really helps us out too. It lets people know what they're getting into, what they might like about it. So if you have something nice to say, go say it on whatever app. If you have something mean to say, I don't want to hear it, and I will cry, and I will personally be offended. So just keep that to yourself. But apart from that, if you can help us financially, you can check out our Patreon in the show details. Our Patreon is for all Mixnomers, so any shows we do currently or we're going to do in the future, you get benefits for all of it. And tiers start at just $1. You can join our Discord server and hang out with us while we play Jackbox games or do body doubling or play Baldur's Gate 3 or any number of things I think of for streams. And we can hang out and share memes, and it's very fun and it's a very chill community. And when you support us on Patreon at certain levels, you can get a cool shout out like our friends Randy Lovings, Rachel Rachelson, Sewing Seraph, B. Trossler, Kelly Brennan, Smirty Singh, Helen Clifford, M. Mosen, and Lucy. If you are in need of some one-on-one peer support or coaching, also check out the show details. Yet again, that's where everything is. And you can go find my website. I do peer support and coaching for AuDHD folks, and all my info is on my website. But that's all I have for y'all today. Stay safe. Have a good one. I don't know how to end these things yet.